So one of the questions I have is just being politically correct. And this is something that, everyone has to now watch what they say or post online. I think there's a good thing about that, but also think that could be dangerous potentially. Do you feel like you have to be politically correct, and what does that mean for you? And are you scared of ever getting canceled? I probably asked 3 questions right there. Let's see how Jevin handles that one.
Man. Bro, okay, all right, so.
Run with that how you want.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for starting with the easy questions. Here's really what it comes down to, right? This cancel culture, in my opinion, is just not healthy. It's not, right? Because are we educating folks? Right? Are we providing those opportunities for them to learn and for them to grow? And so the way that I think about, political correctness and I think about how we should approach this, not saying that we always do, but how we should approach this is part 1 would be terms, society, all these different things evolves over time. And as we go through this evolution, there will be growing points, right? Like there will be growing pains. And what we have to understand is that not everyone is going to get everything all the time. And so can we take a step back and say, is that person just not as aware? Or is that person truly trying to be disrespectful, hurtful, and harmful? Those are 2 very different things, right? And so if they fall into the latter bucket, they are purposely trying to be disrespectful, hurtful, and harmful, then yes, absolutely, I guess cancel them, right? Like they know what they're doing. They're doing it willingly. But if somebody is doing something or saying something and they don't necessarily have the education around how this can be harmful, how it can be impactful, how, what it means, right? Then we owe it to society and we owe it to the individual to provide that educational opportunity, and not just immediately throw somebody away because they said something wrong.
So you think intent has a big factor?
Absolutely. Intent is, in my opinion, like the sole indicator, right? And it's like if you're purposely calling me the N-word with a hard ER, yes, your intent is to be harmful, hurtful, and impactful, right? And if you say something and you might not necessarily understand the impact, right, of what you're saying, right? Referring to an individual who may be indigenous as in any other term, right? Like you may not understand because of the way you were taught, all right, or the terms that were previously used over the last 30, 40, 50 years, right? But like we owe it to society and that individual to educate them, right? Now, after they've been provided with the resources and they're still purposely doing it, then that's different.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Like that's different. But we're not taking enough time to step back and really assess the situation, right? And then making a determination. We're just so quick. And don't even get me started on social media and everything else, right? Like our brains are now hardwired to be fight or flight, right? Our attention span is 6 seconds, that 1 second less of a goldfish, right? Like our communication style has changed. So we're not critically thinking. We're not processing. We're not using logic. We're just immediately acting instead of remember back in football, they'll tell you break it down, right? And then make if you run in head first, you go break your neck. You better break it down first and get your form right. And we're not doing that. The last thing I'll say on this is this is something I've been struggling with for a while of understanding, and I think I've summed it up to one question. Can the woke make room for the awakening?
Break that down.
So if you're somebody who's woke and you know every term and you get everything right, you're politically correct 100% of the time, you consume a lot of space. You do. And there are a lot of people who are on their journey of figuring this stuff out that are just trying. They may not always get it right. My grandma is one of those folks, right? My grandma is the sweetest, kindest, most loving person in the world, right? She don't always say everything right, but you better not cancel my grandma because she just may not understand the term or say the term right. You get what I'm saying? But she's going to try. She tries all the time. So can the woke, and my grandmother is technically a public figure. She's my grandma's mom, right? Like my grandma is out in the community shaking hands, doing all the things, right? But can the woke, right, folks that understand this, right, that get this stuff, can they make room for folks that are on their journey trying to figure it out, right? That's not for me to decide, right? But that's what I believe is the pathway moving forward as we try to figure this stuff out and we learn and we grow together.
Would you agree that both parties or any parties politically have agendas that they push and champion?
Absolutely.
So with that being said, do you feel obligated to always anything your party says you got to be 100% behind and agree with?
Absolutely not. right? I mean, that's the sole reason why I've been as successful as I have been in my various political ventures, right?
Do you have an example of something that was recently or when you campaigned?
Man, I got lots of examples. You know, and let me give you a real life, I guess, PC
There you go.
example, right? Just now, I'm just playing. I'm probably gonna get canceled for saying that.
You heard it here first.
So when I was running for Congress, my district was Scottsdale, Paradise Valley, Fountain Hills, Carefree, Cave Creek, some of the most wealthiest zip codes in the country, not just in the state, but in the country. And I'm a firm believer that we need to do everything that we can to protect our environment, to do everything that we can to give our world, our earth, to the next generation, right? And like, we have to take these measures now. We can't wait for tomorrow to take those measures. And so a big issue, especially here in Arizona, is solar panels, right? And so there's a credit right now at the federal government where if you put a solar panel on your house, I don't remember the exact terms, and for those who are much smarter than me, you probably can correct us in the comments. It's something along the lines of like 7 years. Right, and like 7 years, you buy the solar panel, you put it on your house, and in 7 years you'll get a credit back, and you basically it pays for it. I personally believe that we should lessen that to 2 years, 3 years. Basically saying, you bought a solar panel, let's figure out a way to get that money back in your pocket because you're doing the right thing, and you should be able to take your family on a vacation, and especially in a home like this, it's gonna be $50,000 to $100,000 worth of panels you put on your pocket, right? You put on your house. You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
My party wouldn't agree with me on that. Right? Like, no, they're not going to agree with me on that. I firmly believe that if you're doing the right thing, you should be rewarded on a faster basis, right? Like, that's just one example, right? And like, the party positions as a former party official aren't set in stone. Humans aren't set in stone. Humans' opinions evolve with time, and they ebb and flow throughout situations and experiences. And lawmakers need to understand that, like I said earlier in a previous conversation, when you get elected to office, you are not an ambassador for the 50% plus one that put you there. You are an elected representative of 100% of the population. So that means 100% of the people you have to listen to because they are who you work for. And people forget that because they align with the party agenda and they align. I mean, like, look, for me personally, there are certain things that I don't budge on. I just don't, right? But there are more than enough things that I'm willing to be flexible. I'm willing to have the conversation about. I'm willing to buck my own party on. I'm willing to go against the status quo, right? Because it's what's right for the district. It's what's right for our state. It's what's right for the people.
Absolutely.